My 29M ex 25F broke up with me beginning of summer, slept with 2 men, now once back together. Hello all, long-time lurker, first-time poster looking for advice. So at the beginning of summer we were going through a rough patch and things weren't going that great for us after almost a 5-year relationship together. Which ultimately ended in a not-so-great breakup where she finally decided to end it and left. No cheating on either half. We've always remained loyal to one another during our time together and throughout any breaks along the way. I called her up a few days later to talk where we effectively decided on focusing on working on ourselves and see how things would stand. It bothered me that my birthday was 1 week away and that I heard nothing from her that whole day, not even just a text message. Part of me gets why not, and I don't know if I can be bothered about it, but I still am. Mostly since the timing was horrible, but among not hearing anything that day I had to see her picture with other guys in the newspaper from a promo screening she'd attended the night before. I effectively had one of the worst days of my life emotionally and thought I should not be the one to initiate contact again. Fast forward now 3 months, I've changed myself for the better. I can understand why she left me in the first place, but I was not at a good place mentally and could have been more romantic and not take things for granted like I did. During the summer, after experiencing such heavy emotions, a sudden drive inside me emerged. I really looked inside of myself and saw I needed a drastic change. I managed to quit all my disgusting habits. I read self-help books, started learning a new instrument and lost a ton of weight. Worked my ass off 8-6 all weekdays to save up for the winter since I'm back to school, investing in my future. In general, just managed to really start working on myself with the thought in the back of my head she'd see me become the man I was when we first met, and in the back of my mind I thought she would be doing the same. We'd been through rough patches in the past and always returned to one another with such care and affection. Instinctively I knew we'd reunite at some point. Which we did, eventually. On the day of what would have been our 5-year anniversary, she contacted me again saying how much she missed me, and I her. A lot was said and it felt great hearing her voice again. We met up. As soon as she saw me she kissed me saying how much she missed me. We went for a walk. Talked a lot about ourselves and what we'd been doing. I feared asking her about if she'd been with anyone, so I didn't then. But it came up the next time we met 2 days later. There she told me she slept with 2 guys on separate occasions whilst out partying, saying she felt so much pain from our breakup she just needed to do it, adding that she regretted it a lot and that it didn't mean anything. Initially it stung, but I tried just waving it away and we had a nice evening together again. But after just 1 day the images formed and stuck in my mind, and whenever I'm alone now it's all I can think of. I focused on becoming a better person all summer and didn't so much as talk to any other girl. I know that I can't be angry at her for doing what she did. We weren't together at the time. But it just hurts so bad knowing. Part of me feels betrayed, and a part of me feels selfish for thinking of her as some sort of possession. I feel I've more growing up to do be able to look at her again with the future and thoughts of any babies. The next day she could hear how different I was over the phone and asked what was the matter. I opened up and told her I'm having a hard time dealing with these news. I told her I knew I couldn't be angry at her and that she had nothing to apologize for. This is a problem I have within myself. One that a lot of you probably have felt. After just a couple questions she said I was acting too patriarchy, and ultimately didn't want to give me the satisfaction of talking through it and accused me of being possessive and added that this was hopefully over and we wouldn't have to talk about it again. It felt non-supportive of my feelings and I have a suspicion she's not telling me the whole truth. If it hurt so bad the first time, why do it again? But I have to talk about it. My head overthinks things otherwise and tries to fill in the blanks. It just feels worse somehow. I don't know. I just honestly don't know what to do. I do feel genuine love towards her, but I don't feel as special to her as I did before, and I feel a part of what we had has been broken. I can feel my mental health declining with each passing thought that won't go away. Ultimately I fear this jealousy and insecurity within myself re-emerging will just lead to resentment and further problems for us, perhaps even the same thing happening again. I just feel so primal now. I question her honesty and just think of myself as some sort of a safety net now after she's had her fun. I guess I wanted to ask to people who've been in this situation before is how to get over something like this and whether or not in general if I should reinvest myself in this relationship, and if I'm being the asshole wanting some answers and not just letting it go. Thoughts whether it's a good idea or not knowing who these persons were, seeing as we live in a fairly small-ish town, but not knowing makes me question every other guy the first see on the street. Thoughts about if it'd help if I do the same now, or to be a pushover and just try getting over it. I don't want to lose her again but also feel I need to focus on my mental health first and foremost. Too long did not read. My ex broke up with me beginning of summer, slept with 2 men, now wants to get back together and don't know if I can even if I want to. Thoughts riddle my brain all day and night and she doesn't want to talk to me about it. After just a couple questions she said I was acting too patriarchy, and ultimately didn't want to give me the satisfaction of talking through it and accused me of being possessive and added that this was hopefully over and we wouldn't have to talk about it again. Let me ask you this op. Do you really want to put in the time and work on a relationship with a girl who has zero regard for your feelings? She's probably scared as she may nor have been able to do better than you, and that reality check made her come crawling back. Cut her out. Give yourself a break then find someone else. Good riddance. Her reaction to the very mature way you were dealing with your emotions is proof positive you need to keep this person out of your life permanently. What you felt was totally normal. How you handled it is the exact way someone should handle it. She immediately jumped to attacking you and making you feel crazy for having the same emotions as every other person on the planet. This person is immature and will be a corrosive presence in your life. Cut her off, block her, and move on with your life because you deserve better. It's great that you worked on yourself and that you are seeing results. But, respectfully, it will take a lot longer than 3 months for some of the positive life changes to stick. You are about to make a huge mistake by taking her back. This is not about the one-night stands she had while you were not together. It's about your unhealthy history with her and about her current disrespect for your feelings. Do not let her back into your life. Continue to work on yourself, find male friends and spend time doing the things you like. If you want, have some casual relationships with women, but don't rush into a long-term relationship. Go and see, move on. You'd be an idiot to get back into this relationship. Love isn't enough for a relationship. You need trust and respect too. By breaking up with you, sleeping with other men, and coming back to you, she has shown you how little she respects you. Now it's time for you to respect yourself and cut her out. Stop taking her calls, stop responding to her texts, and stop torturing yourself. Be strong for once and prioritize yourself. Not even gonna bother reading the whole thing op. This woman isn't good for you at all. Get someone better. She left and slept with 2, or, definitely more people. Just look away and continue to improve yourself. Because you matter king. Edit here. I did read some of it but to X sounds like a major cunt who's using patriarchy as an excuse to step all over your feelings. Leave this bitch in the dust and get someone new. So every time she want to sleep with others broke with you, then when she done back to you lol. How can I get my girlfriend to tell me where she went this weekend? My 38M girlfriend, 37F, has reappeared in my life 3 weeks ago after missing for 8 months. Prior to that we lived together for nearly 2 years. Last Friday morning she randomly packed all her things and told me that, due to some long text from her mom, that I should have been aware of, she was going to be away helping family all weekend long. That was a surprise but okay. I tried asking where she was going. I tried reaching out to her over the weekend. Her phone was off, my calls went straight to voicemail but she kept updating her Instagram. Late last night she called me and then came home, over. Still not sure what the status of my home to her is. My home is where we lived for 2 years. I asked her how her weekend was and where did she go. Grandparents? Cabin with her sister? Parents? She only gave me a vague answer that she was running around and didn't see her family. Okay. This morning I took a closer look at her Instagram and she was in a different city, at some farm with some kids and at someone's modern-looking apartment. If she was hiding it from me she would not post so openly where she was. But at the same time she refuses to talk about where she went. My brain is telling me a story that in the 8 months of her absence she started a new relationship and is not bouncing between me and another guy. How do I get her to tell me what is going on? Edit. Would someone be able to advise when posting a story on Instagram, can a user control the geographical location of the post's origin or does Instagram automatically set it? Her posts show that these were posted in a different city but she told me that she posted them now but they are from the past. I don't want to nag her anymore beyond a friendly question this morning. Edit 2. She cheated on me this weekend. Thanks everyone. It's the end of a little story but if anyone cares as to what I mean by missing, she left me on January 3, 2021 about a week after I could not do anything about the fact that I have 2 kids 50% of the time. It was a winter break and I've deviated from the schedule and she asked for them to not be in the house. Prior to that and recently she was very good with them. She reappeared on February 26, told me she loved me and that her mental illness and stress and the pandemic had made her too crazy, so she left. She ghosted me by March 1st Street, and by April 1st I was blocked on all forms of social media. I was not pestering her at all. I've sent a few messages trying to talk to her. On August 10 she got a letter from her lawyer that was mailed to my house. I thought it was important and I've texted an image of the envelope addressed to her. At least I would do my part, I thought, if it is important. On August 14 I got 3 messages from her, that she missed her dog, that stayed with us, and we started talking. She told me that she went through a very stressful period that may have included a suicide attempt and a subsequent 3-week stay at a hospital, or a crisis center. She did come back with a purse full of sleeping and anti-anxiety meds. We've spent a lot of time together since August 15. I was always very concerned that she was going to ghost me again, which is why her sudden departure made me feel uneasy. Why was I with this person? She was very good looking. And she was literally the only woman that had accepted me after my divorce, now 6 years ago. My lack of choice made me accept her. I've never been cheated on before and I am feeling a new set of emotions that prohibit me from accepting her any longer. With all due respect, you cannot get her to tell you what went on when she was Mia for most of a year. I doubt Reddit had the secret sauce for making her an open book now. Why do you put up with this? She is clearly sketchy. So she fully ghosted you for 8 months? And in that period you just waited for her? And thought you were still dating? What? Why are you sitting around accepting this? She disappeared for 8 months? And then you just accepted her back into your home without question? Hell no. Why are you accepting that kind of shady shit? Break up with her, get her out of your house, and find a partner that knows how to communicate and be respectful. After missing for 8 months. Like, missing as in missing? Like no one else in her life knew where she was? Or missing as in just missing from you specifically? If she legitimately went missing, then I think that would really change the context of this situation to something potentially related to trauma or mental illness or some sort of crime. But if she straight up ghosted you for 8 months and then she disappears to someone else's house for a weekend, I'd suspect infidelity. Sounds like she is seeing another guy and using you as a safety net. She clearly doesn't respect you, nor does she communicate with you. Both of those are 2 very important pieces of a healthy relationship. So I have to ask, why are you still with her? When she was gone for 8 months, did she ever tell you where she was? Also, it appears she is posting that stuff on Instagram because she sees you as a doormat and can gaslight you if you even try and bring it up. Can we please get a clarification on missing for 8 months? This is mind-boggling to me. She disappeared on you for nearly a year. Why did you take her back initially? I hate kids and married life. I am 26, single girl. I broke up with my boyfriend a couple months ago. It was a toxic relationship and I had to get out of it. I feel I made a good decision for both of us. During the relationship I developed a fear of getting married and having kids. I kept reading this page on Facebook where anonymous people would confess about their failed marriages in several traumatizing ways, how the husband did bad to the wife and so on. Not only that, I have watched several videos and talked to my married friends and cousins. It's like wherever I turn my face I just find a compromised relationship and failed marriages. This is one of the reasons I broke up with my boyfriend. I understand the need of a partner after a certain age, but I cannot come to terms that I have to compromise so much to get married to someone who would want me to modify myself and work around him and his kids. Doesn't matter how much ever respectful and understanding guy he is. The other day I was video calling my old friend who's now married and have a baby. In span of just 15 minutes she had to hung up the call thrice just because her baby was in her other hand crying his lungs out and she couldn't even talk to me. She sounded depressed and tired. I remember her always laughing and cheerful girl in college days. Looking, all such things make me not want to have a married life and baby. Babies are huge responsibility and are annoying as fuck. They keep crying unnecessarily. I would rather adopt a dog. I feel it's all fun and games before marriage between the couple, and after marriage it become more of responsibility and burden of bills and baby stuff. I know we all need our own family, but I feel by the time you really need it you've lost yourself. In between the process you've lost your energy, your individuality. Gradually I have started feel I will never be able to get married and have a family also because I don't have anyone in my life right now, neither do I hope so or even want to give a chance to someone else, as I am afraid that my heart will break again. Every guy the first speak to is such a turn off and pisses me off. I cannot connect with anyone emotionally. I feel living alone will be more free and independent rather than relying on someone for your happiness. My parents definitely want to see me settled and happy, but I feel this is not where my happiness belongs. I am really exhausted and low in energy because of my previous relationship where I invested my everything. I feel I have nothing to offer to some other person, not even casual dating. I am emotionally exhausted. I fear drama, fights and emotional torture which I faced in my previous relationship. I definitely cannot go through it all again. Some people die single. At least I am not giving anyone an access to ruin my life again. At this point I don't even know what I should be doing. I am constantly miserable thinking I will die alone with this mentality. You don't have to be married or have kids to have a great life. I'm married. We are child-free. Amdi husband has a vasectomy. You can have a happy life with a partner without children. Don't settle, ever. Always leave toxic relationships, romantic or otherwise. Don't give up. You're only 26. Discover yourself. Get the dog. Don't have kids. Really, the unfortunate truth is not all women are cut out to be mothers. No one really talks about those women who had kids because they were told that's what they're supposed to do. I'm 20 years older than you and didn't meet my hubs until I was 35. He's the best person I know. Our relationship is amazing. Full of kindness, support, communication. It does happen. Don't rush and enjoy your youth. It will be gone before you know it. Dying alone is a bit too over the top, no? Unmarried equals alone. You have family, friends, etc. I get where you're coming from, that having kids and a spouse can be exhausting and it's not always for everyone. You're just stressing yourself out now because you're worrying a bit too much about other people. You're worried about what your family will think. You're worried about potential partners who want to get married and you'll need to have the talk with. Think about what you want, and how you'll achieve that. If you're secure in your own wants and needs, you'll care less about what others will think. It's not for everyone and your feelings may change. When I was in my 20s, I would have been a terrible husband and father. I didn't want any part of it. I was much more selfish, and I was not stable or interested in be stable. Now, almost 40, I'd like to think my wife and daughter are happy I'm around and my life is infinitely improved with their presence. Things change, people change. Use birth control if you want to bang, and chill out. While you absolutely don't have to get married and start a family to be happy, you should keep in mind that those Facebook groups, or in general, all Facebook groups, are giving you a false impression of most people's reality. If you really want to know what parenting is like, talk to people who have grown up kids and ask them about their experiences. Kids can be awesome, but like everything else they are not for everyone. Just like running a marathon isn't for everyone, as some love the challenge and commitment to running that far while others can't fathom running more than a mile. With that said, if you feel strongly against kids or marriage, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. As long as you live a fulfilling life where you feel satisfied and make yourself, and if you chose others happy, that is all that matters. Don't put any pressure on yourself, as if you do it will only cause you to feel tense. With all this said, since you are very young, you have time to change your mind or take a different approach if you meet someone you feel you would want that with. In the meantime, live in the moment and be you. I see no problem here. You don't want kids? Don't have kids. You will meet many people that are okay with not having kids. You know what? Probably there are more males that don't want kids than ones that do. Look up child-free. Maybe you'll change, or maybe not. Maybe you'll have a dog. Maybe you'll find happiness breeding capybaras. Whatever you choose, it's a perfectly fine way to leading a life. My boyfriend told me he loved me when he thought I was sleeping. Sorry for any format problems, I'm on mobile. My boyfriend, 21 male, and I, 21 female, have been dating around 4 months now. In the beginning of our relationship we had a long talk about saying, "I love you," and what we were comfortable with, so on and so forth. He told me that in his previous relationship, his ex said, "I love you," very early on. He wasn't ready to say it yet and told her such, but it became a big issue where she would constantly post passive-aggressive things about him not saying it on social media. He did eventually say it after 8 months of them dating, but that's when their relationship started to decline. There were a bunch of issues, but basically she cheated on him and they broke up. I can completely understand why he'd be hesitant to say it to me in our relationship now. I told him that I'll say it when I mean it, and that as long as he shows me he cares about me, he can take as long as he needs. That's where the problem comes in. His friend FaceTimed him a couple of nights ago while we were preparing to go to bed. They hadn't talked in a while and his friend was having relationship issues, so I left to get a shower to give them time to talk privately. I took a relatively long shower, but they were still talking when I came back. I just laid down and started to get to sleep, and at one point my boyfriend stated that I had gone to sleep. Again, I didn't want his friend to be uncomfortable with me listening in, so I played along. I really didn't plan on listening in, but then they started talking about me and I couldn't help myself. His friend asked if he had said, "I love you," yet, and he responded, "There's been a couple of times I almost did. But I don't want to say it just to say it." And then brought up how when he did say it in his previous relationship, the whole thing went downhill. I thought the whole thing was sweet. They moved on from the topic of me, so I went back to trying to fall asleep. My boyfriend got off FaceTime and laid down to sleep and then rolled over and shook me. He asked if I was awake, and I didn't want him to know I had been eavesdropping, so I continued to pretend to be asleep. That when he whispered in my ear that he loved me. It really caught me by surprise. After a while I actually did fall asleep and we had a great day in the morning, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. I had decided after our conversation early in our relationship that I would let him say it first. I don't want him to feel like I'm rushing him, but I do love him. I don't know what to do now. Too long did not read. My boyfriend had issues in his past relationship with saying, "I love you," but said it to me when he thought I was sleeping. Do I say it back? I think you should still let him say it first when he knows you're awake. It seems like he loves you but is afraid that saying it will mess up the relationship. So I'd suggest waiting a bit until he's comfortable with saying it. But say it if he wouldn't say that he loves you in a few months or so. Just give him some more time and see if he gets comfortable enough to say it for real, so to say, but say it after a few months have passed regardless, because then he might just be too scared to be the first one to say it. God, it's so nice to read a wonderful and wholesome post in this sub every now and then. OMG, this is so romantic. You got my heart beating faster. Don't tell him you love him. Show him with actions and words besides love. He will figure it out. I'd give him some time. He seems to be working up to it, and giving him just a little space is nice. This is sweet. Thank you for posting a nice one, we need more of them. Don't change anything. He didn't intend for you to hear it. Ah. Extreme more than words. There's you a song to ponder since the "I love you" is an issue. Maybe let him accidentally hear you blaring that song on your phone as you sing along. Just started playing this song in the background as I typed this, and my wife of 15 years is singing along, smiling at me. My husband waved his hands at me and yelled, "Wizard battle," last night when he thought I was asleep. I think they say what they mean when they think nobody's listening.